Yeah, I went in. I didn't want to look like old Grandpa Joe.
Welcome, everybody, to the Cincinnati Bengals Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. The Cincinnati Bengals Weekly Show is brought to you by Replenishing Care. Make sure you check them out at rcandt.com. I am your co-host for the Cincinnati Bengals Weekly Show, Mike Goodpaster. Usually we have Ty Robbins here, but he had a family commitment tonight, so he has to miss the show. But in his place, as always, we got number 58, Joe Kelly from the AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. How you doing, Joe?
Oh, Mike, glad to be here, brother. You know, another day, another game down in Bengal Nation. We started off awesome, man, and somehow again we figured what not to do on both sides of the ball. We always talk about making adjustments, and Indianapolis definitely went in at halftime and made, adjustments to counter what we were doing. And once again, once they made the changes after halftime and we seen what they were trying to do to us with the hurry up offense. There was nothing that we changed in order to counter what they did. And they made Phillip Rivers look 10 years younger again. Phillip Rivers, has had a great career, but we had him flustered the first half, and we allowed him to get on a roll, man. And once he got on a roll, there was no stopping him. So, unfortunately, it ended up the way I thought it was going to end up, Mike. But we somehow, we can't find a way to win. The teams that stay competitive, they find ways to win. You have to play 60 minutes. We played 30 minutes. We had a really good play, lucky bounce early in the game, and we rode that momentum that we had initially, and then we just came out. We came out totally flat. We came out as though that we were 4-0, 4-1. And we had the game in the bag, and Indianapolis took it to us in the second half.
Yeah, and when you look at this, my biggest takeaway is, number one, A.J. Green was back. He looked like A.J. Green was at 9 catches, like 96 yards, something like that. Yeah. Looked a lot better. My question is this. I know everybody wants to rip on John Ross, but why does Mike Thomas play over him? I still think John Ross, you got to see if you got something with him. He's paid through the end of the year. Why not find out if he can play or not? And I still don't think they use him right.
Well, I mean, use him right, Mike.
Hell, use him at all right now.
Use him. He's been deactivated, and so you don't really know. He had to leave camp prior to the season beginning. His son had I believe COVID. He went there, came back. Tried to play himself back in shape. So I don't know if he was inactive because he was still trying to play himself into shape, or they're just done with him. And if you're done with him, why activate him? If you're done with this kid, and if you're trying to get something out of this guy that runs 4-0, wouldn't you say, well, here, let us put in a couple plays, let's put a couple 9 routes, and try and see if we can, get some trade baits. Try to see, hey, the guy's still young, still should have a lot of tread on his tires. But it's just this team. I said this coaching staff. You don't know what they're trying to do.
Neither do they, Joe.
How's that?
Neither do they.
Yeah. So, I said prior to all the other games, I seen they were game planning not to have AJ one of the main focus. What changed? He was targeted. You were throwing the ball to him, and he was making plays like we know AJ can do. So you seen a guy who was getting his swag back. He had that walk. He was excited about getting involved, being involved in the game plan. And as a result, you got an AJ Green effort and in the catches and yardage. And I still think he has something in the tank. And right now, we need to try and utilize everything we got, man, to continue to help the growth of Joe Burrows.
Yeah, the other thing I took away from this, the defensive line is a mess. In the offseason, it looked like you were going to have Geno Atkins, Mike Daniel, and DJ Reader. Now 2 are on IR. The other is on a pitch count for some reason. And the Bengals' week 1 defensive line was Dunlap, Reader, and Daniels. Week 7, the starting line was Amani Bledsoe, Christian Covington, Xavier Williams, and Carl Lawson. That's just not going to win you football games in the NFL.
That's not a dominant college defensive line. Period. You can say what you want. That's not a dominant college defensive line.
I think in college they might be all right, Joe.
Yeah, they might be. I said dominant. Yeah, obviously, all right. Dominant, no. You know, you see, for whatever reason, I don't know if you're trying to stir something in the locker room, or you're trying to show the younger guys, your guys, that you have control. What message are you trying to send by benching Dunlap and not starting Geno? Both guys are healthy right now, as healthy as you can get. If they are hurt, I don't know anything about it. But what message are you trying to send? You know, right now, you see a coaching staff that's in disarray. A coaching staff, I don't know if they, thrown in the white flag, but it's to me, the epitome of this coaching staff is when they kick the field goal when they're down 27-0. You know, there's a couple seconds, and you kick a field goal for what? Moral support or whatever. You know, you're down, you lose, you keep fighting. You know, you give up. So I think really, I don't think I really can say it on air, but you know, I think this coaching staff is a bunch of start with P and end with Y. You know, I really think
it would end with S, I think, Joe, because you got to include them all. So we want to use the plural.
So you know, it's you know, I just don't understand. I don't understand. Okay, what was your purpose? Were they late to meeting? You know, were they're been disruptive? You know, it's a lot of things that, you know, I understand why and how situations happen. You know, if you got a guy that's he's a sourpuss in the locker room and he's bringing everything down. Okay, we're going to bench him. You know, but if that's the case, we're going to bench him. We're not going to bench him and sit him down for the first series and then put him back in the game. So if there was a message, I don't think the message got through to anybody because they came in on the second and third series. So you know, to me, it shows the dysfunction of the coaching staff. It shows the dysfunction between the players on what scheme they're trying to get these guys to learn, and then what they're doing on the field. And it shows in the broken plays, guys wide open, running lanes wide enough for a truck to run through, offensive linemen whiffing guys and not picking up simple games from the defensive line, guys running right through the A gap untouched, and you know, putting the pressure on Joe Burrows, you know, and have him running around. You know, it's tough. It's tough. We're you know, this team looks like they're still in the second preseason trying to figure something out.
Well, how about this? This is what was really disturbing to me. If you go to Twitter, at least Jesse, who I think is on Channel 5 News in Cincinnati, did you see the tweet she put up, Joe?
No, I didn't.
Get this one. This is from @EliseJessieTV, and she says that she's told by multiple people inside the Bengals organization that linebackers coach Al Golden is handling calls on third down rush packages. So Lou Anarumo, or whatever the hell his name is, calls first and second down as the defensive coordinator. Al Golden calls third down as the defensive coordinator.
Never.
I've never even heard of anything like that.
That didn't even happen in high school. So
it doesn't happen in Pee Wee, Joe.
Yes. So, you know, so are you trying to defer the pressure? And you would have said, well, hey, we're not getting third down pressure. So, hey, that's not on me. That's on the linebacker coach. You know, so, I mean, it looks what I can offensive defensive coordinators, they get input, from your position coaches. That's what they're supposed to. So your input is based on you trying to improve my system, whatever I'm trying to do. So my defensive scheme, my plan is still, there's not an offensive and defensive coordinator who just have first and second down packages. Defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, you have a whole package. So where's your third down package? And it shows. So I don't know if and you can see when like I said, Dunlap, he's in pass coverage. And I said weeks ago, Mike, I said this dude is pissed off. I'm looking at his demeanor. So it came to head when he went on Instagram the other day, and he's pissed off about being benched. He's pissed off about how they're using him, and it's I can see him, and you can literally tell when he's about to rush the passer. I can recall playing and reading offensive linemen and the pressure that they're putting on their fingers. If they're setting back, I knew when guys in their hand movement, if they had their hands, certain hands on their knee, or if they had it on their thigh. A lot of guys, I read their movement, their body language, and right then I knew if this guy was run, I knew if it was pass, I knew if this guy was pulling. So you read those things, and you can tell. And then you can tell when he's not happy with the call, because he's just, he's ho-hum, goes to the line of scrimmage, because he knows he's going to two-gap the guy. The running back comes his way. The first guy coming, he has him, and he has to cover him in the flat. If he does a real route, he has to do the real route. He'll go out and up. So I see a lot of confusion, Mike.
Yeah, and if you look at this, Al Golden is probably the most experienced coach on the staff. He has extensive coaching background. He was Virginia's defensive coordinator 01 through 05, Temple's head coach 2006 to 2010. He failed at Miami of Florida 2011 to 15. Yeah. And then he took a year off. He comes back with the Lions, and this defensive guru is hired as a tight ends coach for the Lions in 2016-17.
Right.
Then their linebackers coach 18-19, and then he took the same job in Cincinnati this past offseason. I think what this sets up for is this. Zach Taylor's got to do something to look like he's trying to do something.
Yeah.
So I think this leads to Lou Anarumo very shortly being fired, and Al Golden being named the defensive coordinator.
I can see that, because you think if I'm a defensive coordinator and somehow wherever the chain of command is, I would imagine that still is coming from Zach to say, I don't think the D coordinator went to Zach and say, hey, you know what, I need some help. Mind if coach can take over calling third downs and making a third down packages, in our game plan, because basically you're saying I can't do my job. So when you look at things like that, it's pretty a problematic situation, and someone, like you said, is saying these are some changes that need to be done. So my thing is, if there are going to be changes, have the balls to change. But you're putting. I mean, if you're going to fire me, fire me. Don't Joe, you're defensive coordinator, but you only can call first downs. If I'm a coach, fire me. Because if I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm a defensive coordinator. If I'm a linebacker coach, I can give some input. So, my thing is here right now. It's time to make changes, and even though our defense is not playing well, we played well in spots, considering all the injuries we have on D line. If you're gonna say and tell Bengal Nation and everybody that's supporting you and your organization that changes need to be made, that offensive line coach needs to be fired, shipped out, give him an apple and a roadmap right now. Because at the end of the day, here your prized pupil, is getting destroyed. And professional football is a mental game. It's physical, but it's mental. And if he keeps taking the abuse that he's taking, this kid he threw some bad balls Sunday, but you can kind of tell, well, hey, maybe I know when I'm going back I know I got to get rid of it. So I'm not going through my progression like I should. I'm rushing things, and you see that in some of the bad balls that he threw on Sunday.
Now, when you look at this, we got to talk about the offense a little bit too. The Bengals scored 3 touchdowns on their first 3 possessions.
Yeah.
They only scored 6 points the rest of the game.
Yeah.
To me, that shows the Colts defense made adjustments. The Bengals failed to counter adjust, and the same thing goes defense. The Colts went scoreless on the first 3 possessions, then scored on 5 of their next 7. Once again, it shows Colts adjusted, the Bengals didn't. Yeah. From a specific standpoint here, the thing that gets me, for example, you call a fullback dive on 3rd and 1. And it's not so much calling a dive on 3rd and 1, it's the fact you're giving it to Samaje Perine when you got Joe Mixon. And no offense to Green, but that was I think it was his first offensive snap of his Bengals career if you don't count the victory formation. What in the hell's going on here? And I hear Lance McAllister on WLW trying to compare this to the Hoosiers coach, Norman Dale, and how, he played with 4 in a game because somebody wouldn't buy in. I hate to tell Lance McAllister like this, but he's full of shit. Because number one, the movie Hoosiers is a movie. All right? It's not real life. And you know what? Lance McAllister, I think, knows enough about sports and football to know that Zach Taylor is an utter embarrassment to the city of Cincinnati. And it takes a lot to be an utter embarrassment to the city of Cincinnati, which, let's face it, since 1990 has been nothing but utter embarrassment.
Yeah. I mean, you look at it, they coaches. I don't know if he's been on the show or not, but I don't know if you're going to say, okay, they're trying to root for this guy. It is what it is. You have to understand the role and position that Zach really, he was, when he took the job, probably as inexperienced as any head coach that has ever been hired.
He was more inexperienced than Dave Shula even.
Yes. And then you bring on a very inexperienced defensive coordinator who's never been a defensive coordinator, at any level, so you look at that and you put those pieces together and you're seeing the evolution of that coming together. There's coaches. I don't say, hey, every person who wasn't a head coach prior to being named a head coach didn't have success, because we know that's not true.
Yeah, but they're usually at least coordinators.
Yes, they'll be coordinators, because you're talking about game planning. You're talking about studying, film study, other teams' tendencies, knowing how to attack them. So you look at, the coaching staff from the Indianapolis Colts, they're down. They get hit the mouth, get hit the mouth right away, down 21-0. So here it's like, okay, here, let's settle down, because they could have went into a panic mode. Let's settle down. Let's see what we can do. And here offensively, let's speed the game up, because we see how we can attack this team, and we've seen how other teams who sped the process up, how they were effective against our defense. And the first time they went, they sped up the process, the game plan. We didn't come back the next series. We didn't do anything. We didn't make it, and they kept going. The next series, so these guys scored three times in a row, 4 times, so we actually made absolutely zero adjustments to the adjustments that they made. And a lot of it, you're not having to change your whole concept of what you're doing. You can see, okay, here, how are they trying to attack us? If they're trying to attack us here, we have to get our calls in quicker. So this is in the interim, while you're on the sideline here, this is how they're attacking us. Okay, here, let's go to this package. Here, strong safety, middle linebacker, you get together here. If they come out, we're going to call 2 plays in a row. We're going to run this. We know the formations. We understand, because we practice against the spread offense, the hurry up offense. So we have set of plays that we practice all week against this offense, this style, and you go in and you just totally either are inept, or you totally forget the game plan, or forget how you were supposed to play against this style of offense, and it goes to show you the experience of this coaching staff, man.
Yeah, or lack of.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. The Cincinnati Bengals will play the Cleveland Browns this week. You going to the game?
No, no,
Good
no,
choice, Joe. Good
no,
choice.
man. It's no. So it's at the end of the day, okay. Here we want them to win. We did WOW. Joe Walters worked for WOW, so we had a Legends luncheon Tuesday. So it's myself, Max Montoya, and Jimmy Breach, and we're just it was a Q&A talking about the players, the temperament. There's confusion in the locker room. It's out there. There's a lot of dissension amongst the players and the coaching staff. So here, what do we think? What was that they should do? A head coach, Mike, has to lead, regardless of the situation. We're 1-4-1. What are we going to do? The head coach, if the head coach doesn't show leadership, then you're going to have a trickle down effect, and that's being hard on your coaches and demanding that these broken plays. How are guys? Why did the guy play it like this? Why are we doing? Why is this guy running wide open? What's happening when they're running this? Here, we're consistently getting beat in the A gap. We're consistently getting beat over here, and you're demanding more from your coaching staff, and ultimately those position coaches will take it to their players and try to demand more. But as a group, there's first of all, there's no leader, so that's a head coach. There's not one coach that I've seen that I don't say here you got to go back to Newt Rockney and grab a guy's face mask and but it's this is still a man's game, and this is the NFL. This is no babies. I'm not worried about your feelings right now. I need you to get your ass in the A gap when we call this play. Period. Or you come stand by me. And you don't see that, man. We there's blown coverages and blown calls, blown assignments, and everybody just, there's no fire, in coming on the field. Guys are, 7 yards a whop, running, and we're not stopping anything. And I see absolutely no sense of urgency on any side of the ball, man. And I said, in my opinion, I knew after Philly, we couldn't beat a struggling Philly team that was pretty much depleted, that our season could literally go in the tank. And right now publicly, you have dissension with guys on Twitter and Instagram putting their feelings out to the public. So there's a lot of soul searching in their locker room this week. But at the end of the day, if you don't have a coach that has the balls to grab this team by the neck and say, hey, you know what? This point on, this is what I'm going to demand. And I don't care, you best player, whoever it is, if you can't get with my game, because it's my team. If you can't get with my team, you sit your ass down. If I'm going to lose, I'm going to lose my way. And I don't think he has a way. I think he's just kind of trying to figure it out. And I don't want to make a move. You keep signing guys off to this practice squad, but you're not making any changes. You're not here in anybody's face. You're not making any changes. You got players. Like you said, we talked about John Ross using, and see what you got. If you don't have anything, oh well. So it's probably pretty problematic down there, Mike.
Yeah, I'm still got to play the Steelers twice and the Ravens again. And this Cleveland game, Joe, they like to run the ball. The Bengals have no D-line. Yeah. The Bengals are going to probably try to blitz them to stop the run. That won't work, just like it didn't work in Indianapolis. Baker Mayfield looked like shit last week. Let's face it. He's probably going to ball out this week, just like Phillip Rivers did.
He's playing us.
Bengals seem to have that effect on quarterbacks that aren't that good. The history of the Bengals, I remember this, Joe, and I got to know Mark Malone a little bit, the old Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
He's been on the show a few times.
Yeah.
And we used to laugh because he said, you know what, playing the Cincinnati Bengals in like 1984 and 85 saved my job because he said I put all my numbers up in those games.
Yeah.
Now, if you remember 1986, you were on the team. Bubby Brister comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he lost to y'all on Monday Night Football, but nobody ever heard of Bubby Brister. He played pretty well there. So the Bengals seem to have that effect on quarterbacks. And Phillip Rivers looked like he was a 24-year-old rookie last week.
Oh man, you allowed a guy who has 2 cement blocks in both shoes to look nimble and agile and step up in the pocket and step around the pressure, and make plays all over the field. He was making plays all over the field. And it's just I still say it's coaching. It's coaching. Whatever they're trying to teach is not, the players are not learning it. And you there's no continuity. We talked about Max Montoya and Jim Breach. We talked about Joe Walters. We talked about the continuity we had, the brotherhood we had, how we would, after games, after practice, we would all get together, and the bond that we had. Because we to this day, even Max said it, to this day, from that '89 Super Bowl, more than half of that team is still here, and we still get together all the time, whether or not it's golfing events, bingo events, family events, still to this day. So anything when you see teams that have success, they have that camaraderie, they have that close tightness. I can pull your card. I can say, come on, man, let's go. I can tell, hey, when I'm going to, if I'm going to go to practice, I'm practicing hard, and you're lollygagging, come on, man, let's go, let's get this work in. We got Steelers this week, so it's that kind of, you're not afraid to hold each other accountable. Reggie Williams, my guy, my mentor. But it was no matter how much or how close we were off the field, he held me accountable if I blew us an assignment, right there on the field, so it was something like, Joe, what, okay, I got, let's go, I got it. So, it's that, it wasn't in a disrespectful way or anything like that. Here, man, this is what we got to do. This is the game plan, and you have that close knit, and this team obviously doesn't have that. You don't see guys walking off the field alone. Guys sit alone. There's not a lot of talk about it. You can kind of see the frustration on Joe Mixon's face. It's had been on AJ's face the last 3-4 games. I think he was excited about how he produced, and I think more than anything for AJ, it was I show you that I still can play at a high level in this game if I'm asked to do so, if I'm targeted. So my God, I have no idea where we go from here. But I see this season being worse than last year, and it was it's pretty hard to do that.
I think they might win another game more than last year just because of Joe Burrow. But I think there's more talent on this team, which makes it even more disappointing. And my hope is this. I mean, I know they're never going to hire an Eric Bieniemy because, number one, he's not going to be stupid enough to make his first head coaching job in Cincinnati. I think his ass goes to Houston. He hooks up with Deshaun Watson. They give him a little control down there. But I think our best case scenario as Bengal fans is Mike Zimmer gets fired and becomes the head coach here.
Yeah. We that's something that it for Bengal Nation, that's too good to be true.
I know that's why it won't happen, Joe.
Yeah, that's too good to be true. He's a guy. I don't think he doesn't have the Belichick aura. So they won't go and hire a coach of that stature. And not that you'd have a lot of coaches.
That's what I mean. I think Mike Zimmer's as close as we can get to an adult coaching the team. He's friends with the Brown family.
Yeah.
He was not a failure in Minnesota. Hell, they played a championship game. They were in multiple playoffs. It was just the owner decided he wanted Kirk Cousins, and everything kind of went to hell from there. Yeah. But when you look at it, he's also a guy that if you're a linebacker and Mike Zimmer comes in, there's a track record that he knows what the hell he's talking about.
Yeah.
Right now, I think the problem is you got a track record of guys who you either don't know if they know what they're talking about, or a guy like Jim Turner, who's an absolute joke as a human being, on top of being a horrible offensive line coach. You know what you got. You can't respect a coach that, number one, has never done anything, and number two, is a miserable human being on top of it.
You know, and at the end of the day, Mike, it shows in the play. It shows in your effort. In this league, hey, you win some, you lose some. When you're looking at the game, you know what kind of effort? What are you? You don't see guys are not flying around. You know, defensive, regardless of the score, you don't see guys flying around. You know, offensive line, you don't see guys getting after it on the offensive line. You're looking. I'm literally watching 68. You know, in his head, just like, and he's just watching Joe Burrow's gonna take it to the ground. You know, dude.
You know what's bad, Joe? You know what's bad? I've come to the conclusion I don't even think Bobby Hart's our worst offensive lineman.
And that is pretty bad. That's pretty bad. You know, it shows, man, that our offensive guard play is horrible. You know, Bobby Hart is horrible.
They're all horrible.
There's you know, Max Montoya, you know, we talked about it. And I'll say, well, Max, you know, here, a lot of times defensive, you know, being an inside linebacker, making the calls. You know, if there were games that we had on from defensive line and according to the alignment and what they came out in, here we can make the calls, we can make adjustments. A lot of times if I was in a blitz, I had to make a call to make sure the defensive line was going to the right hole. I was going to the right hole. And even in simple stunts, these guys, you know, inside linemen, you're taught to protect the inside. Nobody's inside. You know, you go right here. You know, it's boom, nobody's in your face. And, you know, it's automatic. You know, we've seen in Max, we say, dude, we've seen so many times where the center and the guard both check, and they're not blocking anybody. There's nobody there. The nose guard goes over here. You know, the guard doesn't look outside, and the center doesn't look on the other side of the other A gap. And these guys got two guys running wide open, and you got two big, you got 650 pounds that didn't touch anybody. You know, and how many plays, how many times that you see that our guys literally whiff, you know, defensive linemen and linebackers on blitzes, and we don't pick them up. And you know, it doesn't bode.
You know what that is, though, Joe? Because these were guys that were stars in college, but what that is, that's coaching. They're unprepared.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't tell me they couldn't block somebody. Yeah, they're unprepared. They don't know what they're doing. I don't know how many times I've seen the linemen actually look at each other and talk to each other.
Yeah.
And the linemen all have to be on the same page. And the other thing is, you're moving so many guys in and out. I mean, hell, now I see they're interested in maybe signing Marshall Newhouse again.
Oh, wow.
I mean, is that just to give Bobby Hart somebody just as bad as him to be on the team with?
Well, you know, I mean, you look at it, and if you understand, you've been a coach, you've seen it, you've coached it, and offensive line is communicating all game long, every single play. You know, especially on pass plays, you have to. You know, so we got it because we don't know if they're zone blitzing. We don't know if the safety's coming, the corner's coming. You know, we're you know, and there is these guys, you know, do a hand check and don't look. There's no talking. There's no head swivel. I see guys, you know, the feet work is awful. You know, setting on. You know, their feet are not balanced. You know, they're out of balance. No coordination. You know, and guys are getting beat on swim overs. You know, it's one slap and you're flying. You know,
Joe, sometimes you're just being run around.
Yes, you know, it's not. You know, some guys are bad at okay, here it's hard for them to get out there on a speed guy. You know, it's hard to for them to defend a guy who's a bull rusher. You know, it's hard for them to a defensive guy like Aaron Donald, who's and Gino, who are short guys, are very powerful. You know, but it doesn't matter. They can't defend any type. You know, the speed type, the bull rusher type, the guy with the moves. You know, they're getting beat in every facet of offensive line play, man, and it's a tough thing to watch.
All right. Do the Bengals win this week, Joe?
Absolutely not. I think here, Cleveland, I think they were embarrassed last week, and I think they went into that game thinking that they were going to be able to run against Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh defensive line just totally dominated them. So I think what's the best thing to do? Get how you get off a snide. You get in here, and then you have an opponent like the Bengals. What did they rush for 200 yards against us the first game? I think they did. Yeah. So I think they're licking their chops, and this is going to be a rebound game for them in order to show the NFL that here we're not as bad as we played, last week in our opening day when we got smashed by Baltimore. We are better. Even with an injured Baker Mayfield. I think they're going to come out and they're going to pound us. Our defensive line is decimated. And that actually was our only hope, in my opinion, that we had dominant defensive line play throughout the year. And now the fact that with three of our top guys are injured, and then you're not starting, the other two best D linemen for whatever reason. And based on Dunlap's public announcement of what he feels about his role, I can even see his role even diminishing even more. Because as a head coach, you walk into that locker room and your star defensive end, a defensive tackle, they're frustrated. But both these guys got these huge extensions. And do you allow that one person to publicly go out? We know that can really cause a lot of dissension in teams. Usually here you have something to say, we say it, and we keep it in the locker room. We keep it inside the family, and we deal with it as a family. Now that it's out there, then here, it was AJ saying this.
Well, and that shows that they have absolutely no respect for their head coach.
Yeah, and that's what it is. So, this game, Mike, I think Cleveland is going to regain their running style, and I think they're going to pound us, and I think they're going to control the ball.
Don't forget this, Joe. With no defensive lineman, don't be surprised if Baker Mayfield goes off on us too. He's got Odell Beckham Jr., and they both had a really bad game last week.
Yeah, and Odell Beckham just got banned for 2 years from LSU. He can't be on LSU's sideline for 2 years.
What did he do? I didn't even see that. I saw something.
Were you seeing in the championship game? He was on there, and after the victory,
giving out the money.
He was passing out money.
We don't want college kids to get money because we all know that the coaches don't make that much, and the schools don't have anything.
The guy he passed out. I passed out a couple $100. He wasn't recruiting anybody. What he did, but it's I don't know if they had to do something.
Did the guys all keep the money, Joe?
Hell yeah! If you were,
if you were in college,
money. You got, your Odell Beckham came out passing. I don't care what it was. He didn't get anybody, 30, 40,000. He passed out a couple $100. Hey, I'd keep it if I was a player. So, I think they're gonna. I don't think it's going to be as close as it was the first time we played them. I think they're going to control the ball, and I think they're going to dominate us on the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively. And I don't see this game even being close.
All right. Well, if it is, we'll still lose because Zach Taylor's 1-12 in one possession games, which also is a sign of poor coaching. Joe, we'll be back next Wednesday night to talk about this barn burner at Paul Brown. They let like 6,000 fans into this game, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. I thought they were take it up to 20. Because there's some
shit. Under 20,000. Well, Browns fans will show up.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna be able to get 20,000 Bengal fans in here in another month.
Oh man, it's looking ugly, man. It's
The coronavirus is is not as deadly as the Cincinnati Bengals, dude.
right,
They'll kill you quicker than anything.
Oh my God, man, it's rough, man. Ty probably he just called in and probably was just trying to make an excuse because he's probably still crying, man. He's
No, Ty would have been on the show to take
yeah.
it. Right. As Ty told me today, if they beat the Browns, I think they really got a shot at that final wild card spot. He didn't really say that, by the way.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just don't see the momentum. Is there a bright spot? Mike, give Bingo Nation a bright spot. Where's the bright spot?
A bright spot is that
Joe
the average age that an American male dies is 76, 77, and Mike Brown's in his 80s. That's the best I can come up with.
That's the best.
Can you think of something better?
Oh man, oh Mike, that's cold, brother. Oh man, that's
dude, it's cold. But I mean, damn. You can only lose. I mean, the guy's been in charge since like 1989.
Yeah.
After the Super Bowl, they've done nothing since. And the fact is this: he's a guy that got a sweetheart stadium deal and still didn't feel like it was his duty to try to put the best team on the field for the people that are paying for the stadium. So when that's said, I think that's cold as hell. When the people of Cincinnati are still paying for a stadium and he can't get them anything. I mean, let's face it. They don't have hope now because of anything he did. Their hope right now for Cincinnati Bengals fans is because they were so incompetent that Joe Burrow fell into their lap. Yeah. So right now they're in the same situation as the Indianapolis Colts were when Peyton Manning fell into their lap, because I still say it. I think the Colts would have been in L.A. by 2005 if Peyton Manning doesn't end up there. The difference is this. Jim Irsay was smart enough. Who was it he went out? Got Bill Polian?
Yeah.
And let him build a team that eventually won a Super Bowl and went to a couple Super Bowls. The problem is this. Mike Brown's not going to do that because he's a dumbass. And I don't say that lightly because he went to the Ivy League. But the thing is this. If you're doing something for 30 years and it's never worked, you have to be a dumbass to continue to do it.
Well, you could say dumbass Mike or smart ass, because it's you say here I can, the return that I'm making on my investment here, I'm still getting in normal times, non-COVID times, I'm still getting 50,000 plus people every week, and I'm still putting out an inferior product. People are still buying it because it's the NFL, whether or not it's the visiting team. He understands that I can put this out. So he's never gone in off season and say, "Here, we're gonna change this thing around and we're gonna make."
Yeah, what they did is they gave us DJ Reader, which was a good signing, but then they gave us a bunch of crap that was just replacing the other crap that we had. Yeah. And I'll still go back to this. I love AJ Green, but he is 31, 32 years old. Yeah. If you don't pay AJ Green and you don't pay Bobby Hart, you got a ton of money to go out and fix the offensive line, especially if you know ahead of time. I mean, this was a stacked wide receiver class. So you knew you were going to get somebody pretty good in the second round if you wanted him, or the first round whenever you wanted him. And like I said, it's not a knock on AJ Green. And the thing is this is going to take a couple years to build. So even by signing AJ Green, if you franchise him again or you give him a long-term contract, by the time you get to the point that you could win a Super Bowl, AJ Green's going to be too old to be anything other than a possession receiver. So why not have enough respect for AJ Green to maybe send him somewhere where he's got a chance to go to a Super Bowl?
I agree. Yeah, when they re-signed Bobby Hart, I think that was their biggest mistake. Like you said DJ Reader. I didn't necessarily say here.
He was a good signing. He wasn't a good signing,
but
that was it.
I'm saying here, I don't think that was the biggest need. That DJ Reader contract could have been a Pro Bowl offensive tackle somewhere. We could have got the kid from the Redskins. He went somewhere. He was on the market. Yeah, so you had tackles that were on the market.
Or a linebacker, Joe. We could have a linebacker.
Yeah, well,
they got Josh Bynes. But this is the thing, as you say, Josh Bynes is just a guy.
He's just a guy. Mean,
he's not a stud. He's just a guy. Logan Wilson, I think, will turn out to be a good player. Yeah. I think he may be a little bit better than just a guy.
Yeah.
And then you've got the kid number 59 that was drafted in the 3rd or 4th round. I think he can be better than just a guy. But if you want a Super Bowl, you got to have probably 4 or 5 linebackers that are better than just a guy.
Yeah, yeah, and you definitely hear like you said when I think we as Bengal Nation we got overexcited because they actually signed 5 guys on defense. Never did it before. But the guys, like you said, we were replacing guys.
Yeah, the only possible upgrades were guys we drafted, and that's a crapshoot.
Yeah. So, you're looking, and then you're looking at, okay, you think about Von Bell, and you think about the pedigree, being an Ohio State guy. Here we signed both starting Minnesota Vikings, both starting corners. And these guys, they made plays, but here their play is there is nothing outstanding. It's nothing that is blowing you away and say, hey, these guys are making play. Hey, Jesse Bates is you can say Jesse Bates is the best guy on our defense right now, and I think he's made strides.
Yeah, he's a good player, but the thing is this: you can't do it with just one good player. No. Geno's getting older. You know what? If you don't want Geno and you don't want Dunlap, see if you can get a couple draft picks for him, because that's the only way you can build the mess that they've got now. If you're not going to go out and get free agents, and I mean, if you're not going to play them, get something out of them. And the same thing with AJ Green. These guys 2 or 3 years down the road are going to be at the end of their career.
Yeah, I think the only when you're talking about trade right now, I think the only guy that we had that would be worth a trade to get something valuable, in return would be AJ Green. I don't think Carlos or Geno.
I think Geno or Carlos could. I think Geno could get you a 4th round pick.
Yeah, we have something 4th, 5th round. Okay,
but there's nothing wrong with that, because the teams that are really good are the teams that kick ass when they draft 3 through 7. The New England Patriots are a perfect example of that.
Yeah, but the New England Patriots are coached by Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick. You see what I'm saying? So these guys are.
That's not the biggest difference, though, Joe. The biggest difference is the Bengals do their picking with Mike Brown.
Yeah, and you're not molding those guys. When Tom Brady was there and they were on the Super Bowl run, their offensive line. These are all mid-round picks. They didn't have a bunch of first-round guys.
That's Skarnecki, who was a hell of an offensive line coach. They didn't have Jim Turner, who likes to sexually harass women and sexually harass gay people, and not generally fail miserably as a coach. That's what the Bengals hired as an offensive line coach. So I didn't Zach Taylor when he hired him. But when he hired Jim Turner, I knew this stuff was done before it even started.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because we all talked about Max Montoya and Jim Breach. We talked about the talent that they have. There is talent in positions. Like you said, you got John Ross. You spent the 9th pick on him. Now you have him active. You don't play him one play. My thing is here. You have them. You line up in spread. He's not going to garner the top corner. AJ, they're going to put the top corner on AJ, and then they're definitely going to put a guy on Boyd. So now you got T. Higgins. Now you have possibly a safety guarding T. Higgins or John Ross.
Yeah, but you got to have time to throw him the ball, Joe.
You know what? Hey, some guy that fast, you come in 3-step drop and you throw it up. And you let him run under.
But they're not going to do that because that's not Zach Taylor's offense. He wants to do everything like Sean McVay. Yeah, I mean, he got the job because he knows Sean McVay.
Yeah, it's that, and basically that's why. But it's tough, and we can.
Hey, I hung out with Urban Meyer once for like a half hour. Does that mean I should get the coach to be the next coach at Ohio State?
Right.
That's the same damn thing.
Yeah. So it's tough, man, and. We don't want to be Debbie Downers to Bengal Nation, but at the same time we have to be realist about what it is and the product that they're putting out. When they signed Bobby Hart, that pretty much solidified Joe Burrow's rookie.
Well, I mean, when Jim Turner said he was the most underrated offensive lineman in football, that solidified it. And I'll tell you what, Joe, I think Debbie Downer would be a better head coach than Zach Taylor.
Well, yeah. Well, here you couldn't do any worse, man. You couldn't do any worse. And then he's managing right now to.
This is a team that could easily be 4-2 right now. We'd be
Yeah,
all excited.
yeah. You look at it. Cleveland game could have won. Philly game we should have won. Indianapolis
The
should have
Colts,
wone.
the Chargers,
The Chargers.
the Browns.
That
We could be 5-1 right now.
Yeah, and I think we would still have a lot of the same criticism because here you're talking about the Chargers came down to one play. That's a judgmental call that the ref didn't have to make. We win the game. You look at Philly here. We stop, make one third down stop, fourth down stop. You don't let Carson Wentz beat you on an 11-yard scramble. This dude runs at 5'9". So it's being at the right place, being where it's supposed to be, we easily could have been 5-1. That being said, there still are just huge holes, and all over our entire team. D line, linebackers, which ultimately affects the defensive back play. If we're not getting any pressure, if they're able to stay, I don't care who you got back there. If they're allowed to sit down there and open up a book and read the book and then close it and then still, have time to look around for a guy open, they're gonna kill us all game long. And it's the opposite for us. Joe has to hit his intended target, that number one option. Literally, 70-80% of the time because he doesn't have any time to go through his transgressions. It's tough, man, and wish I had some a better attitude about the Bengal team, but it is what it is. That's the product that right now it is. It's the NFL. Not for long. That's what it stands for. And it's not about, being afraid to hurt people's feelings and tell them the truth. The truth hurts. It has Bobby. Did Bobby Hart make some plays? Was he a little better? Yes. But, you're saying a guy that's awful that made a couple plays. He's in the NFL. Everybody.
You can't have an NFL offensive lineman that does the right thing 50% of the time, even.
Yeah. So I've always said any guy that was signed to an NFL contract, this guy was a bad dude wherever he came from. So he knew football. The thing is now being able to once you get to this level, being able to adapt and survive and learning what it takes to compete at this level. And it's not always about just brute and strength and speed. You have to, if that was the case, you look at John Ross, his speed. Nobody's faster. You look at how Jonah Williams was at Alabama. I thought this dude was an animal. I thought he was just going to come in and just roll people over, man. And right now he's looking very human. He's looking very meager. And he doesn't look like the strong guy that was at Alabama. I think, there's still answers for him. I still think with coaching, the guy can potentially be, a pretty good NFL player. But I think that's going to take them bringing in an experienced offensive line coach and show him and teach him, better techniques.
All right, Joe, we're going to wrap it up so you can watch your Dodgers try to do what the Lakers did the other night.
Man, we're getting spanked right now, Mike.
What's the score?
So 5-0. 5-0, bottom of the fifth.
That's all right. I'm cheering for the Rays anyways.
Yeah.
They remind me of Cincinnati. They don't spend no money on their team. The only difference is they win.
They're starting pitchers.
Actually, I lost interest in baseball about 1994. But,
yeah.
So go Dodgers. What the hell? It'll make you
happy. Go Dodgers, baby. Go Dodgers.
All right, Joe, we're going to wrap it up. We'll be back next Wednesday night at 9. Ty Robbins will be back with us. But until then, for Joe Kelly, I'm Mike Goodpastor. You've been listening and watching to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.